Hi there, I'm Keith,
I'm Sheila.
and welcome to Our Five Favorites. We're going to be going through making separate videos of different categories. We're each going to make a list of our 5 favorite in that category with an honorable mention, and we'll go from there. Today we're going to start with our favorite 80s musical acts, solo artists or bands, right? Yep.
Yes.
Because I have a couple solo artists, one.
Same.
Okay, one. So we will start with that. I'll go ahead and start with my 5th. Were you looking at your list?
Yeah.
I didn't sneak a peek. You can see mine though.
I can't read your writing
Good.
from here.
My 5th favorite would be, I'm sure, the only country artist to make the list, but George Strait.
And we specified from the 80s.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
George Strait. I had every single one of his CDs, and at one time sent them all off to him to get autographed, and got them all back autographed, which I'm sure was a stamped autograph now that I know. He did not sit down and sign each one of them, but so that's my number 5 is George Strait.
My number 5 is probably totally opposite. Well, not totally.
Rat?
No, I think I'm totally opposite. Michael Jackson. I remember my neighbor lady who I babysat for, and she got the vinyl with Beat It, and we played a Thriller. It was a Thriller. We played that over and over and over again.
Why did you have to babysit the neighbor lady?
Stop it.
My number 4, REO Speedwagon.
Oh.
Is it on your list? You would
No!
not know yet. Oh, you
That's
forgot.
That's one of those.
Every time I mention one, you go, I like
I
them.
told you I'm going to hear like, oh yeah.
REO Speedwagon, it was, I love their music, and it wasn't necessarily big with my friends, but I listened to the tapes all nonstop.
I feel bad because there was an emotional connection for REO Speedwagon.
REO Speedwagon or Air Supply, which you didn't add them either.
You didn't
Yeah.
do different girlfriend. You didn't do a mixtape with Air Supply for me.
I did REO Speedwagon though.
Way to look
And
away.
you forgot.
I didn't forget. I just didn't.
Didn't
add
make
that.
your top 5.
Not that one. My number 4, Def Leppard. Def Leppard, while I, of course, loved their music in the 80s, it actually is probably one of the ones, well, 2, that has
As much meaning
maintained.
now, yeah, or
Just-
stayed the whole way, yeah.
Yep. Definitely has maintained, stayed the whole way, is becoming even more favorite than it was back then.
Yep. My number 3, I'm sure, is not on your list, or you won't care. 38 Special, which I have posted many times, and you know I say it's the most underrated band of the 1980s. They are, to me, but every song, they're fantastic. I absolutely love them. And so, yeah, they're my number 3.
My number 3 is Prince. I'd say Prince. Just that whole era, big with the Purple Rain.
Yeah.
Just love him.
Yeah, I mean,
all the way around, being musically talented and choreography and his videos, just all of it.
I actually thought about him, and then I felt like even though he was huge in the 80s for us,
Yeah.
I didn't really come to appreciate him till the 90s. So to me, he wasn't one of the bigger acts in the 80s for me,
Yeah.
because I came to love him later, and we love him now every bit as much. But
Right.
I think I knew of him, but I didn't really listen to him. So he didn't make my list, because I think if it was all time,
Yeah.
he might.
Yeah.
But of the 80s, I just thought it's not one that I listened to in the 80s. So,
Yeah.
But I absolutely love him. Number 2 for me is Def Leppard. Same thing. It's one that has stood the test of time. We've obviously seen them recently. Still love them.
Yeah.
Started in the 80s, and then it actually was a kind of a crossover for me, because in the early 90s, Wilfong and Tafoya, Travis Wilkinson, we used to just crank Pour Some Sugar on Me and all that, and just at some of the parties and just singing that at the top of our lungs, clearly off key, but so I mean it made its way even in the 90s and still today, but yeah, so Def Leppard's my number 2.
My number 2, LL Cool J.
Yeah, yep.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. No, I loved him too. And actually, I didn't put any rap on here, and I was big into rap. I think for me, I couldn't narrow it down to one rap. Because I liked LL Cool J, I liked Too Short, I liked Kool Moe Dee, I liked DJ Jazzy Jeff. I mean, there was too many rap for me to say one, but I know you for LL, that's...
He'd be the one that I knew his name, knew his lyrics, like the others.
Well, you weren't as big into rap. I was big into rap for a while. For those that remember my license plate. MC Otto.
MC Otto.
Mick Otto, they thought, yeah, but MC Otto.
Well, Mick Otto works.
Works too for McDonald's, yep.
MC Otto with your car phone.
Yeah. Yes. All right, so,
cool.
Before we get to number 1, we're going to mention our honorable mentions. And for me, that's ZZ Top. And I think a big part of that was back when MTV played videos.
Yes.
The Sharp Dressed Man and some of their videos from back in that time were phenomenal. The car, the
mini skirt.
Well, yeah, that's true too. Just looking for some tush, but the guitar swinging that they had that were covered in, I mean, just everything about it. So they almost cracked my top 5, but ZZ Top's my honorable mention.
I went more emotional with my honorable mention, and that's why I went back to high school. No, I went back to the mixtapes, high school. When in Rome.
Oh, wow.
The Promise.
Nobody, I was going to say. I bet you.
Now you hear it in Safeway. Playing overhead.
Yeah. Well, you hear a lot of this stuff.
Aging.
But, but When in Rome, that's great.
Yep.
Most people won't even know that one. My number 1 might even be my number 1 of all time, and that's AC/DC. I mean, I was just everything. I remember in the early, I guess I shouldn't say early 1980s when I was walking to Chinook Middle School for basketball practice from where I just lived about half a mile away and had to walk up Livingston Hill, and I had my headphones and my Walkman, and it was a couple George Thorogood songs and all of AC/DC. And that was my tape that I listened to in high school on the bus to basketball games. So, yep, AC/DC. And like I said, they might even be my number 1 all time, but they definitely were number 1 of the 80s.
My number 1, Scorpions.
Yeah.
Definitely. And, for me, it'd be late 80s, that, and then even into early 90s that I just would crank them up and play them as loud as I could, and Scorpions.
Yep. So that was our 5 favorites of 80s musical artists. If you have any suggestions for topics, I'll include at the end of the video, I'll include the email you can send it to, and maybe we'll read one of those on the next one.
Thanks.
Bye.